In this photography tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use your cell phone and a single light source to take relatively decent pictures of small objects. This is good when you don't have a good studio setup or all the right equipment to take photos. The first thing you'll need is a tripod or something sturdy to set your cell phone on. You'll also need a single light source. Here I'm using a simple clamp light and a chalkboard to attach it to so I can get it up and at an angle to my object. A cell phone holder that attaches to your tripod is a nice option. Make sure everything is pointed towards your object, and notice that I have a paper backdrop that is swept towards the object. Then I'm adding a reflective device. This is a simple piece of foam core. You can use white paper or anything else that will bounce light back into the shadows. Since you only have a single light source, you need to add light to the other side. Here you can see shadow, and then the shadows disappear and become softer when I add my reflector. This is an important step. Compose your shot and then take a photo. You can also add a more dramatic effect by adding shadows. I can add a dramatic shadow behind my object. This can help three-dimensional objects have a sense of depth, and so you can hold this in front of your light. The closer to the light, it will be more diffuse. You can also add teeth and other shapes to help feather out the lighting effect on your backdrop. Here you can see the effect of the light shadow coming in and diffusing on the object. You want to be careful not to actually have the shadow touch the object because the idea is that there is some separation. You can see how when I move it too close, it covers the object. We don't want that. You want it to have a nice feather effect, and then that will give the object depth and make it pop out from the background. You can decide if you like this effect or the more general flat lighting. Both are equally acceptable and can showcase your work very well. It's also a good idea to set your cell phone in portrait mode to help blur out the background. Another aspect you can do is move the light closer so it's directly above the subject as you see here. The shadows become less and it gives the object a sense of grounding. So the shadow is kind of giving weight to the object. You can still then add in the shadow in the background so you can have depth to the object. Just make sure you don't cover it. You can see how the shadow can cover the object. That's bad. So not like this. Find a spot that you think gives a nice depth to your object and it'll make it pop off the screen. If you move it closer, you have fuzzier light. Farther away, the shadows are harsher. This is taking a photo without any shadow, and then adding the shadow. It's a good idea to take photos in multiple ways and at multiple angles so you have a lot to work with. If your cell phone supports taking raw images in addition to JPEGs, you should set your camera app to take JPEGs and raw images so you can edit them in Adobe Camera Raw. It's always better to have a good camera setup, but in a pinch, you can use a single light source and your cell phone with a little ingenuity to create some depth for your images. Don't hold it parallel to the light, hold it parallel to the background. Here you can see from above, getting the camera very close to have a nice tight shot on your image. Make sure you don't digital zoom, you move the camera closer to the object. Hopefully you can create nice documentation photos of your small objects that are presentable when you don't have a proper photography setup. These photographs that I have here were taken with a simple cell phone and this light. I've white balanced them and cropped them just a little bit to make them presentable. You can always clone stamp out any pieces of paper that have a seam or any other imperfections in the image. Post-processing is an important step to photographing and documenting your artwork. So now you should know how to document your artwork with just a cell phone, a single light source, a backdrop, and a light reflector. Happy photo taking.